I hold my hand here and I erase between my finger and thumb so that my paper's not moving all over the place and it doesn't get all wrinkled up on me. I can use my pressure. I can press really hard to make a dark line and hold it a lot lighter and press the paper lighter to make a lighter line. So when you're drawing, you want to be more towards this side of lightness because you can't erase this. So when you're first starting out your drawing, you should go nice and light till you get it right. When I go to erase this line, it's nice and easy. Notice how I did it between my finger and thumb. Then when I go to erase this line, it's a lot harder and you can still see it. I can make one full drawing using just one crayon, depending how hard I press. When I color in, notice how I'm holding it on its side. And I'm pressing down a little more. And I'm holding it towards the tip so that my tip of the crayon doesn't break. When I color, instead of coloring up and down like this, that makes a hard line. Instead, I'm trying to create a soft blend here, going from light to dark. It's kind of giving it a shadow. I want to give that same kind of shadow with my moon. Notice it's darker underneath each one of my shapes. That's following a little rule that I'm setting for myself. If I make it the same darkness on each shape, it'll make it look like it's leaving a shadow. You might also notice that I'm coloring in the same direction every time. When you color something in, if I'm coloring in all different directions, turning my hand instead of turning my paper, versus if I color it in all in the same directions, I can turn my paper and color it all in the same direction. Also, here's another tip. You can create what I like to call a bumper zone. This is even easier to do with marker, so I'll show you that too. The bumper zone helps me not go outside the lines if I don't want it to go outside the lines. And I'm going to color it all in the same direction. Slowing down a little bit when I get towards that bumper, and it looks a lot nicer. Also remember the kinds of lines you can create with your chisel tip, right? Thick or thin, depending how I hold it, so you might want to practice on sketch paper. You can see here with the light shining on it, right? Big difference between that one and that one. You can use the tip of the marker to make a thin line and the side of the marker to make a thick line, and use thick and thin line in a drawing, for instance, to make a pattern. You can also overlap marker, that is, put one color on top of another color to create a whole new color. Or I can blend my color, blend one color into another by slightly overlapping my color from light to dark. Here is the rubbing plate of the texture you see. The lines are raised, and when I put it under my paper and I rub with something soft like a crayon, a pencil, a colored pencil, not a marker, it will create the same texture I see here. When I put it under my paper, I can take this colored pencil, I'm using the side of it, see how I'm further back I'm holding it? I'm doing this nice and light, making a nice soft shade, and then the more I press, the darker it becomes, and maybe I can move my fingers down a little more when I start pressing a little harder. But you can practice making a nice smooth blend going from light to dark, showing my value using one color. Working with a sharpened colored pencil when you're coloring is important. This is not very sharp. Do not sharpen colored pencils in the electric sharpener. Please use a handheld sharpener. Turn the colored pencil sharpener instead of your pencil, and it sharpens it a lot better without breaking. Now that I have a nice sharp point that's not too sharp because it'll just fall off otherwise, it's a lot easier for me to shade. So just like crayon, just like I was showing you here and here, blending your color, you can do with oil pastels. I always start light to dark, so See how I'm overlapping? I'm going over top what I already had part way, and I'm coloring in the same direction every time. Pastels are even the best thing to blend, but I can't get a lot of detail with these because they're really thick.
SGRAFFITO is putting down 2 thick layers of color, so I'm making a nice solid layer of my bottom color. I'm going to go over it with a solid layer of a top color. If I want to smooth out my color, I can color in the opposite direction. And then I'm going to use a scraping tool, like a toothpick, and draw in my design.